And we are live from the Martinesville Speedway for chase race number 7 and race number 33 on the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series season. Tonight, the Martinesville Speedway, the paperclip, again, race 7 of the chase, and a lot of drivers and not a lot of racing, or rather not a lot of room on this track for the racing. It's going to be a wild night for sure. Hello everybody, my name is Evan Pasoko. Joining me as always, Harrison Wilets. Harrison, 200 laps at Martinesville. There's a hell of a lot of cars making the grid tonight. It's going to be an interesting night.
Oh, absolutely. The Martinesville Speedway is unlike any other track on the schedule in that these drivers will be harder on the brakes than any other oval, any other track if you discount the 2 road courses that we visit to every year. And this is a track where actually the setup these guys are running tonight, very high brake buys, easy to lock the tires, easy to ruin the right front tire, also easy to ruin the right rear tire, getting that drive off on the exit. So this is a very difficult track.
And definitely, let's take a look back at last week, the Talladega Super Speedway. A very different race than what we come to expect. Only 11 drivers finishing on the lead lap, so that might lead some people to believe that it was another wreck fest. However, over 80 laps of green flag racing to the checkered flag, and fuel strategy coming into the end with the drivers in 3rd and 4th running out on the white flag lap. It was Justin Wilson, however, taking home his 2nd victory on the 2013 season. Guy Snyder, the 4th, coming home in a solid 2nd place finisher. Points leader Chad Cole taking home a top 3. CJ LeVere finishing in the 4th position, and Rich Jett taking home a top 5.
Yeah, and looking through 6th through 10th, we had Nick Silver pick up a solid 6th place finish. Rhett McBride, Bratcher, Cadell, Arnold rounding out the top 10. But last week was very interesting in that Dwayne Vincent was not able to get the finish that he was looking for, came home in 15th, and lost a lot of ground on Chad Cole, who was in that lead battle. Now, Chad Cole didn't win the race, which was to Dwayne Vincent's benefit. And this is another track which is kind of a wild card in that it's easy to get into trouble here. And so a 20-point lead right now, but certainly looking into these final 3 races, anything can happen.
If you talk about the points after tonight, there will be 3 races to go. Again, tonight, the Martinesville Speedway. After tonight, Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead to decide. You mentioned this could possibly be one of the last real wild card races in this chase for the championship. And let's take a look at the point standings. Again, Chad Cole up atop the points with 2,260. Dwayne Vincent, the farthest back that we've seen him since we were at Chicagoland Speedway to start the chase, 21 back in the 2nd spot. 3rd place, CJ LeVere, 33 points back. You gotta look at the 4th place car, Justin Wilson, 42 back, almost a race behind. 5th place car, also Ronnie Potts, 43 back, and rounding out the front half of those chase contenders in that 6th spot, Jose Gonzalez, sitting 46 back off the points leader, Chad Cole.
Yeah, 7th in points right now. Rich Jett actually won the first Martinesville race this year in the spring. Guy Snyder sits 2 points behind Rich Jett, currently in 8th there, 62 and 64 points out of the lead, respectively. Steve Ritter, currently 9th, and he's got 3 wins on the year, a lot of speed. 10th, Mike King, 92 behind the leader, followed by John Abbott and Mark Bratcher. Bratcher, who's had some rough luck in the chase, but he's been gaining ground on the 2 drivers in front of him the last couple of weeks, I do believe. And so Bratcher wants to get his way into the top 10 in points before the year.
And definitely, let's talk about the track tonight. The Martinesville Speedway, not a lot of room in asphalt and concrete surface, concretey inside on the turns and asphalt straightaways. Very interesting. Call it a half mile if you want to get technical, 0.526 miles in length, 4 turns. And the banking at 12 degrees, it does not feel like 12 degrees. You talked about how hard these guys got to get on the gas. Capacity crowd of about 65,000 people can get into this racetrack located in Ridgeway, Virginia, owned and operated by the Speedway or International Speedway Corporation. This track opened in 1947, so a place with a lot of history, and some drivers looking to make history tonight. Again, after tonight, only 3 races to go in the chase. You got to look at those guys in those 3rd on back. back. Dwayne Vincent now almost needing Chad Cole to make an error instead of being a two-man breakaway. This is also a night that LeVere can capitalize on. 33 back. Only 4 races remaining if you include tonight. It's time to go, but if Chad Cole stays stout and continues to hit these top 5s off, I think he's a shoo-in for the championship. So some of these guys really got to step it up, and this is a racetrack, and this race tonight is one that they have circled that they really need to capitalize on.
Yeah, and you mentioned 12 degrees of banking. When I was looking at the track facts, is really the first time in a long time that I reminded myself of that. I tell you, anyone who's driven here could tell you for a fact, it does not feel like 12 degrees. It doesn't even feel like 6 degrees. This is about as flat as they come, and as hard as it is to get around this track, it's possibly even harder to race in traffic. You really have to anticipate where the guys are going to get on the brakes in front of you. You're trying to get that run off the corner, but it's so difficult because of how heavy everyone is on the gas that you're sort of trying to play into that line where, okay, what's considered a dive bomb? How can I look low here? Is this too early to look low? And so tempers will flare, and this is just going to be a big old short track race, 200 laps at a really difficult track.
We're going to see a lot of beating and banging tonight. Also, an interesting fundraiser going on tonight at the race for the Martinesville Speedway tonight. Stephen Herring is going to donate $5 per every car that has either pink numbers or pink decals on that, and Real Sim Racing will match these proceeds. And if the winner in victory lane at the end of the night is sporting those pink colors as well, another $50 will be thrown in there. All proceeds going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, where I do believe they get about 91 cents for every dollar donated goes directly to cancer research, and that is the same organization that the recent breast cancer benefit races here on ETVLive, including the iRacePink.com events with the USTRA stuff, same organization there. So a great deal going on tonight with that as well.
Oh, absolutely, and you got to give kudos to Stephen Herring for. That's a lot of money we could be talking about. I'm sure I haven't looked at the cars through this field yet, but I guarantee a lot of them are sporting pink numbers or a pink paint scheme. And for $5 for each car, $50 if one of these drivers wins the race, and RSR matching that, you have to thank RSR as well. All for a great cause to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation.
Definitely, that's our second trip to the Martinesville Speedway. In the spring, point leader Chad Cole finished 7th. Dwayne Vincent right now, second in the points, finished 32nd. He needs to improve on that tonight, but we're about to get ready to go racing, so we're going to go down trackside now for the national anthem performed by the Cactus Cuties.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
And thank you to the Cactus Cuties for the national anthem, again the Thunderbirds for the virtual flyover as well. But we are on the grid, and it's going to be the 26 of Jose Gonzalez taking the pole with a time of a 19.209. Your pole sitter is going to be starting in the number 1 spot. Outside row number 1, the second place car is number 33 of David Lanza.
I'll tell you, row 2 has 2 very strong qualifying runs. The third is the 31 car of Jonathan Cadell, who's outside the number 22, AJ Browning.
Inside row 3, the 5th starting position belongs to the number 5 of Bill Tomer, and on his right-hand side in the 6th starting position, Guy Snyder the 4th rolls off his number 27.
Starting 7th will be the number 4 of CJ Lavere. Starting 8th, last week's winner, the 58 of Justin Wilson.
Points leader starting 9th, it's the 8 of Chad Cole. 10th is the 15 of Rhett McBride.
Starting 11th will be the number 10 of John Abbott, alongside of him the 91 of Steve Gottschalk.
Starting in the lucky 13th starting position, the number 66 of Brian Harvey. Starting 14th is going to be the number 78 of Keith Brooks Jr.
Dwayne Vincent not getting the qualifying run he was looking for. He's going to have to charge from 15th position, alongside of him the number 2 of Ronnie Potts.
How about the number 20 of Mike Montesi rolling off the grid in the 17th position? 18th is going to be the number 45 of Cale Dresbach.
Starting 19th will be the number 29 of Brennan Mercer, alongside of him the number 19 of Marvin Turnmeyer Jr.
Starting in the 21st position is going to be the number 65 of Ed Williams Jr. Outside him, the 47 of Eric Arnold.
Starting 23rd will be the 38 of Mark Bratcher, alongside of him the number 18 Barry Hines.
Last car to take a qualifying time, starting in 25th position, the 57 of Ryan Vaughn. Outside him, 26th starting position, the 16 of Steve Ritter.
Row number 14 has a number 04 of Mike King, alongside of him the 43 of Doug Roth.
Rich Jet's going to roll the 36 off the grid, 29th position, 30th the 12 of Douglas Wyatt.
And rounding out the field will be the number 62 of John Wilco.
32 cars on the grid set to take the green flag here in just about one more lap at the Martinesville Speedway, a half a mile long. A whole lot of race cars and a whole lot of pink out there on the track supporting the Breast Cancer Research Foundation and the iRacePink.com. So looking like we're going to get a lot of donations and from tonight's event. Obviously, Steve Herring doing a good job of that, and the drivers are doing their part, but it's time to go racing. The pace car is down the pit road. The field is going to be in the hands of the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. The field working through 3 and 4. 26 is on the loud pedal. The green flag is out at the Martinesville Speedway, and we are racing the top 3 single file out, but we're side by side for 4th on back.
Yeah, quite the battle, actually. 4th right now. Bill Tomer in the 5, the 22 of Browning, also CJ Lavere and Guy Snyder all in the mix. We have a bunch of cars side by side, 3 rows deep, 2 by 2 by 2, as Chad Cole looks for someplace to go. The 20 of Mike Montesi, hard in the wall, going on the backstretch. No caution yet, but a lot of severe damage to that 20 car.
And definitely several drivers wondering why there is no caution. Take a look at the replay. 20 up on the top of the racetrack, trying to avoid all the other cars. Heavy contact, heavy damage on his car. The caution flag now is going to fly, so we're going to go under caution here. A lot of drivers feeling that might have been a little bit delayed, but we do get our first caution here on lap 3. Not sure if it is for that number 20 of Montesi being slow on the top of the racetrack, but that all happened in one, going 3 wide, got into the 29, and the 20 car got spun by the 47 after he came down a little bit, and he was up in that outside wall for a while. And I think when he stopped to try to hit escaping it off of the racetrack, it evidently drew that caution for him being stopped on the racetrack. But it's going to put us evidently under our first.
And on the very start, as Ronnie Potts did spin his tires, came down into the 20 of Montesi. And then as Montesi got his car under control, Brendan Mercer tried to pick up a couple of spots. And a lot of people just trying to take advantage of it, and they all just sort of converged upon each other entering turn number 1. A lot of cars spinning around. I saw Marvin Turnmeyer was one of the drivers around. Cale Dresbach, Mark Bratcher gets a little bit of damage. Ryan Vaughn gets a slight bit of damage. That's not going to hurt his car, but really the 20 car Mike Montesi, probably the biggest victim in all of it, as 2 of those drivers, being the 20 of Montesi and the 45 of Cale Dresbach, have taken their cars behind the wall Dressback is on pit road actually as we speak, trying to fix that damage, I believe, or actually I think he just took it back behind the wall. But 2 drivers taking down that incident of the entire race.
Definitely the 45 Kale Dresback behind the wall. His night is done. The 20 of Mike Montesi, he is done as well. The RSR officials confirming that the caution does come out for the number 20 of Mike Montesi for stopping on the racetrack, which did evidently bring out that caution flag. So again, that's putting us under our first caution. Early in the going here on lap 3, some drivers near the rear end of the field coming down. Some guys got a lot of sheet metal damage in that. So they're going to come and get those things fixed up, get those fixed, beat them with the sledgehammers, not throw them at anybody, but you can get that sheet metal fixed up, make sure that car is 100% and then get back going. Jose Gonzalez remaining up front. Again, those top 3 single fouled out really quickly when we went to the green flag, but once we got to 4th on back, that's when all that 2-3 wide action got caused. And you mentioned spinning the tires. That can really cause a big group up, a big bunch up there going into turn number 1, and that's exactly what ended up causing that initial caution.
Yeah, absolutely, and the tire spin only gets worse when you heat cycle these tires. And so when you get deeper into these runs, a lot of times guys will keep trying to restart in 2nd gear. Little known secret is, you know what, you're in 4th gear here, exiting these corners at 60 miles an hour as the pace car lights are off. They will be getting the green. But some of these guys on heat cycled tires, the strategy is really to restart in 3rd gear. All you do is that 3-4 shift. Jose Gonzalez led practice, led qualifying, and now he's leading the field to the green, taking the green pretty early as Dave Lonson, the 33, Skull Bandit paint scheme right behind him. Nice old school scheme with the pink numbers himself. And looking for the lead, actually, as the 33 looks underneath the 26. Is he going to stick it down into turn 3? Jose drives it deep and clears Lanza and is able to hold on to the lead.
Contact back around the 4th position. Number 22 of AJ Browning got a nice little tap there by the 27 of Snyder going into turn number 1. Still side by side. You see the 22 of Browning on the top. The 4 of LaVere is going to prevail on that bottom lane along with the 8 of Chad Cole. So again, that inside being the preferred lane here as it is in the Sprint Cup Series. Early on in the going here at the Martinesville Speedway. Everybody trying to get single filed out and try to get in a rhythm. Again, a track like this, much a rhythm track, you got to get into that groove, got to get going, hitting your marks properly. It's a long, long race, 200 laps. You got to think of it, you got to get on that gas hard at least 400 times into 1 and into 3 every lap. So this race is really going to test these drivers' patience and if they can keep their cool there behind the wheel.
Yeah, and one of the best at hitting their marks and being consistent, getting into that rhythm, is the number 8 of Chad Cole. He qualified 8th. Disappointing qualifying run because he wasn't able to match what he ran in practice. He was the 3rd fastest car in practice, only 300ths off the fastest time. Fell about a 10th and a half off of that in qualifying. But as you look at that number 8 car of Cole, he has driven from the 9th place qualifying position up to position number 5, only 12 laps into this race with a caution already. And so Cole is moving forward. And certainly putting the pressure on Dwayne Vincent, who really has to come from behind and deal with more traffic. Vincent actually up to 11th as we speak. But Cole's moving forward. He's going to be one to watch for this win.
And definitely take a look at the top 3 drivers. Hell, everybody behind Gonzalez really not that far off. All these guys at the front of the field, about a car length separating them. Gonzalez with a very good turn there through 3 and 4, so he has about a 2 car length lead this time, going into 1 over the 2nd place car of Lanza. All these guys really close quarters racing. Nobody really trying to force the issue early on to get around them. We have some side-by-side back in the pack, but nothing in for high positions because it's really, really hard to get down to the bottom on somebody. You really have to get a good run off the corner, get to that inside down the straightaway, and hope that that guy does not cut you off going into the corner, and hope that you get on the brakes hard enough and don't end up wheel hopping going up the track and getting into him. So a very, very difficult racetrack is that Martinesville Speedway, but so far looking like we're going to get a green flag run going here as everybody's single file throughout the entire field.
Yeah, one of the things helping that is probably the fact that 200 is a big number. This is a 200 lapper, and these drivers go in here thinking, oh boy, it's going to be a long night. And so they sort of start the race with the mentality of, okay, let's get through this thing right here. And this is a track where fall off is pretty big. And as we go deeper into these runs, already we see a little bit of a gap between the 3rd place car, that's the 31 of Cadell, and the number 4 of LaVere. Cadell putting a gap on LaVere, and Cole putting a lot of pressure on LaVere for that 4th spot. as we have a little bit of smoke into turn 4, but no caution. I believe they got it straightened out, whoever had a slide there through turn 4. I see the 12 car, the number 12 of Douglas Wyatt, is heavily damaged, but this is a track where as they spread out, it's going to be interesting because tire wear is very big here. You heard even the Sprint Cup drivers talking about it over the weekend in practice and whatnot. These tires give up a lot because of just how much you're using them on entry and exit. And so deeper into these runs, we're going to see some comers and goers. Who's going to be able to keep that track position and who's going to come on through the field.
Definitely pit road entry, if we see that under the green flag, is going to be key as well. What happened there with the 12 of White, actually, back on lap 13 off 2, got sideways and smacked the inside wall with that left rear and the left front of that car and lost several positions, which has evidently put him back into that 27th spot and is in risk of losing his lap fairly soon if a caution does not drop in the coming laps. So tough break for him early on into going after a decent qualifying effort for his machine. Actually didn't take time in 30th, but he had made up a lot of ground to that point, so tough break for him to slide back in that position. You're taking a look at the replay right there, just getting loose off of that corner and smacking the inside wall. Did a good job of not putting it nose first, but definitely some damage to that left side of the race car that is not going to allow him to get up to speed fully, and he's about 2 seconds away from losing the lap 2 race leader, Jose Gonzalez, in the 26, as the pack works their way off of turn 2 down the backstretch and going into 3.
Yeah, his car just yawed out in the wrong direction. A lot of severe damage, not only on the bodywork, but with the suspension and the rear end. And as you saw in the replay, that's just one of those typical cases where you're getting in the throttle really hard here, and you're down to about 5,000 RPMs. You get hard on that throttle, and the car is shooting up from about 60 miles an hour all the way to, I'll actually take a look to confirm, I was going to say 125, and actually that was a good guess, just about 125 miles an hour on these straightaways and only being on the throttle for about 700 feet. And so you're hard on the gas on exit, and sometimes you get really throttle happy, but a lot of times backpedaling that throttle and really creeping into it is the way you make up time, because any tire spin you're losing ground. And so very easy to do here. Unfortunately, Douglas Wyatt is going to find himself in lap car territory here, as he gives room to the leaders. That car just heavily damaged. Wouldn't be surprised to see him make his way to pit road during this green flag run if he's not able to catch a caution.
And definitely the driver showing a lot of composure and patience here early on in the going, keeping it single file. I counted that the top 8 cars on the racetrack right now do have pink numbers, so good to see all the drivers supporting the cause in tonight's race. Again, October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And again, Steve Herring, $5 per car with pink decals or pink numbers. All proceeds go into the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, and if these guys go to victory lane, another $50 in RSR will match those proceeds as well. So a great deal going on tonight up in front of the field. Things starting to get a little bit tighter at the front of the field, and the caution flag is going to fly. One car into the inside wall, down the back straightaway. I see skid marks and some smoke, looking like it's the 57 car of Ryan Vaughn hard into the inside wall, looking like he got tangled with the number 5 car going off of turn number 2, the 5 of Bill Tomer, maybe getting loose under him, but hard contact for both those cars is going to put us under our first caution.
Yeah, as we about to look at this replay of this incident off of turn number 2, I was just about to point out that battle. JD Webb and the producer's box been looking at, or the trailer, I should say, but just taking a good look at this battle. They were battling hard for 22nd. Bill Tomer comes out of turn number 2, the 57 of Ryan Vaughn, not quite up against the wall, and Tomer hard on the throttle, a little bit of a bobble through a little bit of a tire spin. Ryan Vaughn at 57 really takes the brunt of that. A lot of damage. Bill Tomer quite a bit of damage himself. And as they were getting back going, the leaders came around. Really nice miss for John Wilco, and I believe the 47 of Eric Arnold barely squeezed by. You'll see him barely miss the 57 on that replay. Up against the wall, he was riding that wall to miss it. So a close call for the 47, but the 57 heavily damaged and the 5 heavily damaged.
Yeah, definitely. That was back in the pack where we saw more of the side-by-side racing. Looking like the 5 maybe have had a little bit of a wiggle, had to check up and tried to chase that up the hill slightly, getting into the 57. They both went into the inside wall. A good job of driving by the number 29 car. This all happened right in front of him. and Brandon Mercer doing a good job of getting out of the way. And you mentioned those guys went right up to the wall. The 47 shooting through with inches to spare. So a great job by the drivers for avoiding that, because if those cars came up sideways in front of the pack, that could have been a lot worse than what the initial or what the wreck ended up being. The light still on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. Jose Gonzalez in the 26, still your leader this time by the stripe. We're going to hit lap number 31. The lights are still on the pace car, so we got at least 1 or 2 more laps under this, our second caution of the night, before we go back to green flag racing.
Yeah, the top 4 drivers, I believe, on the track, or the top 3, at least the top 3 stayed out, and then a few others. CJ Lavera was the first driver to come down pit road, and I believe he sped on pit road, as he is letting a lot of cars by here under yellow. Chad Cole, I might have just said Chad Cole. CJ Lavera with a penalty. Chad Cole did not get the penalty. I think he's going to be the first driver with 4 fresh tires. And Jose Gonzalez on the older tires on Dave Lanza, Jonathan Cadell, Steve Ritter, and Keith Brooks Jr. staying out. And so the top 5 all stayed out. And then we have our points leader is going to try to work his way through them from 6th.
Yeah, definitely CJ Blair, definitely with a speeding penalty. Interesting to see that to happen under the caution flag. Tough break for him, 3rd in points, still looking for his first win of the season. Very, very interesting. It was very close at that exit line with his speed. But we are off and going. Green flag back out in the air. 33 of Lanza spinning the tires, almost getting into the 31 of Cadell. So things getting bobbled up front here. Now the 16 of Ritter taking a look to the inside of the 31 of Jonathan Cadell. So things real shaky up here up front, side by side for 3rd going into 3.
Yeah, Dave lands on those heat cycle tires as he gets run into by Ritter. A checkup on the inside. Chad Cole gets some damage. The 8 car has some front end damage, and I don't believe that's enough to have an effect.
18 around.
Also, the 18 of Barry Hines is around on the front stretch.
And that may have been all a direct circumstance from all of that checking up, because it looked like the 10 car in front of him, John Abbott, checking up, and he just got knocked around by the 65 car behind him of Ed Williams Jr. So the 18 getting that rear bumper torn off and sent into the inside wall, which is going to put us under our 3rd caution of the night. You're taking a look at the replay coming up right now. Again, that all happened from that thing that happened up at the front of the field. The 33 of Lanza had some issues going off of turn 4, causing the 16 of Ritter and Chase points championship leader right now, Chad Cole, with some pretty severe front end damage from that as well. So a big checkup there through 3 and 4 is going to end up causing our 3rd caution of the night to this point.
Yeah, and early on in these restarts, everyone is all grouped together. A lot of beating and banging, a couple of positions ahead of where Barry Hines spun out of 4. And so one of those cars was, I believe, the 66 of Brian Harvey, and the 22 of AJ Browning made some contact when Harvey got loose. So a lot of the guys taking it easy directly behind there, and John Abbott was one of those guys who was backing down a little bit. And Hines lifted, as you said, but got run into from behind. I believe it was Ed Williams Jr. And so most of these drivers going to stay out. And Jose Gonzalez at 26 has led, I believe, every lap this race. And he's going for that track position rather than pitting, because he wants to stay where he is at, as John Wilco gets the lucky dog and flies around the pace car. But Gonzalez picking track position over tires. And which it's going to be a trend this race. Drivers are really going to want that track position because it's so difficult to pass here.
Talk about track position, you got to talk about CJ Lavere. Again, coming into tonight, 3rd in the championship standings, really needing to capitalize here. Again, this could be considered one of the final big wild card races of the chase for the championship here with the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. 33 back of Chad Cole coming into tonight. Was running up front, pit road speeding penalty. He's in 18th position. Dwayne Vincent in the 13 has moved his way up to 8th. And again, the championship leader, Chad Cole, is in 6th position in the number 8 car, but has front end damage. So a lot of storylines could be shaking out as this race progresses. Again, Martinesville, a lot of contact. No really where to go that's safe. Especially on those race starts, you mentioned the way the field is so grouped together. It's pretty much controlled madness for the most part.
Yeah, and that's why Dwayne Vincent really has to be careful. That 13 car of Vincent started in the middle of the pack. I think he only has he might have a little bit of right front quarter panel damage. I believe he's scraped himself a little bit, but nowhere near. Chad Cole's got some serious front end damage, and I'd be a little bit worried about that if I was Chad Cole, because a lot of times if you hit that nose just hard enough, your car can just overheat. The radiator is compromised, and it can lead to a really long night where he's going to have to sit on pit road and repair that. So this run is going to be everything, as Jose Gonzalez really jumps the gun on that restart, goes practically in turn number 3. A lot of guys spinning the tires as they work their way through 3 and 4, but Gonzalez retains the lead, and the battle's on around the 6th position as Keith Brooks Jr. and Chad Cole are side by side, and then a lot of other people are right here, including Wilson, the 15 of Brett McBride, and the 13 of Dwayne Vincent.
Definitely take a look at the one car in the top 78. Keith Brooks Jr. getting passed by the 8 of Cole, and the 15 of Brett McBride, is going to get around. So Keith Brooks Jr. that time by is going to be scored into 8th spot, stuck up on that top side. Now the 58 of Justin Wilson going to work his way around him. 78's going to be able to retain that inside lane. Oh, big checkup. This is the 58 of Wilson, gets hard on the brakes. 58 of Wilson all the way up the hill in 3 and 4. That caused the big panic going into 3, and another wreck nearly avoided there, as it looked like Dwayne Vincent was going to try to make a move to the inside, and once those guys got on the brakes in front of him, it got real crazy.
Yeah, what happened there with the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. was I think he was mirror driving a little bit. And so Dwayne wanted to get out from behind him, went to that low side, and they were all clear where Keith could have hit the brakes early as he's needed to. But I think he just missed the braking point by a little bit, making sure that he was going to have the room to do so. So Justin Wilson paying the price. But I tell you what, he came out of there okay. Some rear end damage. That's not really going to affect the handling of the car whatsoever here. You could get away with a good bit of damage here, and Wilson only lost 2 spots because of it. But Dwayne Vincent got to that bottom groove, and now he's right on the bumper of Steve Ritter, the 16. So Vincent actually looking underneath Ritter giving the room, and Vincent moving through this field. Only 2 cars behind Chad Cole. And Cole right now probably looking at those temperatures to make sure his car is good, as we're about 5 laps since that restart. He's got a lot of heavy damage on that front end. But if he's not overheating, then he's going to be just fine on speed, as the front end damage really won't hurt you at all here.
Yeah, definitely the front end of his car pancaked in. He is driving the Ford Fusion, so the front end of that race car is a lot more flat than the Chevy. But the pretty major front end damage, you could say, to the front clip of the nose on that 8 machine. So he's definitely going to be monitoring that as the night goes on. But sitting in 5th right now, side by side, the 27 of Snyder took a look to the outside, taking a look now on board with Chad Cole. Cole right on the back bumper of David Lanza this time going into 1. Cole definitely going to try to look to advance his position here, getting right up to the back bumper in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Lanza hasn't pitted yet. Chad Cole trying to use his tires to his advantage. Lanza doing a really good job of retaining that track position. As actually, though, Chad gets underneath Lanza right there, and will be able to move up to the 4th spot. Lanza tucks back in line in 5th position ahead of Brett McBride. Right in front of these guys, Guy Snyder in the number 27 has really been trying to work that outside groove. Was working for 2nd alongside Jonathan Cadell, but unable to make it work. But all these guys are all nose to tail. Gonzalez in the 26 still leading this race. Not the fastest car on the track, though. Cadell right up on him. Almost gave him the bumper in turn number 1. These guys are being pretty patient with each other, but certainly it looks like Guy Snyder and Cadell and Chad Cole with 4 fresh tires, who's up to 4th. Certainly faster than the leader right now, trying to find a way around him.
Side by side for 19th position, Eric Arnold trying to get around the 43 of Roth. He's going to do it this time after being side by side for a couple laps. So Arnold moving into the 19th spot, and now the 38 of Mark Bratcher is going to make a move on the inside of the 43 of Roth. Roth with that petty blue on the top is going to lose another spot and pull back in line. So Doug Roth going to move back into the 21st spot and move Bratcher up into the 20th position. Other than that, almost single file all the way out. Be interesting to see what Guy Snyder can do in that 27th. You mentioned trying to get that top to work. Not really working for him just quite yet, but keeps experimenting with that. Now Chad Cole has joined these guys at the top of the chart here in that 4th spot. So he's up at that lead group as well. Picking up another spot again, getting around the 33 of Lanza just not too long ago. Side by side, the 66 of Brian Harvey in 9th. has been overtaken by the 58 of Justin Wilson. So just that quickly, you can lose a spot if you open up that door. And so another change for position here that last time by in 1 or 2.
Yeah, and right behind Brian Harvey is the number 2 of Ronnie Potts, currently running in the 11th position. And Ronnie's really been Mr. Consistency this chase. He hasn't been up there winning races yet, but he's like a consistent top 10 competitor, and he's got a number of top 5s that he's put together. He didn't get the qualifying run that he wanted this tonight. He did start in the 16th position, was 15th in practice. But right now he has worked his way up to the 11th position, and that's just something you can do here at Martinesville. You can really work your way forward with the racecraft and strategy if maybe you lack a little bit of the speed, as the 2 looks underneath the 66 of Harvey. We'll stick it into turn number 1.
Battle up front, the 27, Guy Snyder the 4th, getting around Jose Gonzalez. So move a Snyder into the number 1 spot. Chad Cole in 3rd, knocking on the door on the back bumper of that 26 of Gonzalez. So Cole and Snyder working together these last few laps to make their way around the 31 of Jonathan Cadell, who was previously in that 2nd spot, and taking a look to see if they can get that to work. The 26 Gonzalez slower on the inside. Chad Cole's going to get around him. 26 should be able to hang on the 3rd, as he does have the inside lane on the 31 of Cadell. So Gonzalez this time going into one side by side with that number 31 machine, not quite having the speed that he wants. They're going to stay side by side off turn number 2.
Yeah, and actually I had thought that that Guy Snyder was one, as the 31 drips way up out of the track in 3 and 4. When you get out of that concrete, there's way less grip on the asphalt, and it's easy to really lose a lot of momentum as he gets run into by the 15 of Rhett McBride. The 31 of Cadell just trying to hold his position there. And a lot of contact there at the middle of the pack. Guy Snyder, I thought he was one of the drivers who had pitted. I was wrong about that. He pitted on the same lap that Chad Cole pitted. Chad is currently running in 2nd behind him. So the top 2 on the track right now were 2 of the cars who pitted at the lap 35 exchange, or I believe the lap 30 exchange, the caution period, where a lot of those guys came down pit road. And so the tires right now paying off, as Jose, who hasn't pitted, has faded from these guys. Still in 3rd position with Dave Lanza right behind him, but losing a lot of ground on those guys with the fresher tires.
And definitely taking a look up front, Chad Cole, Guy Snyder pulling away from the pack. Snyder has about a half a second lead on Chad Cole for that 2nd position. Cole, another 1.5 seconds back to the 3rd place car, being the 26 of Gonzalez, who led the opening portions of this race. Losing that lead not too many laps ago, just can't keep up with these guys. It's going to be interesting to see, can Cole get anything on Snyder? He picked up 2 spots that last lap, or 0.2 of a second rather, Chad Cole. So Cole trying to negotiate that and try to get up to that lead position as well.
Yeah, and Cole certainly wants those bonus points. Guy Snyder, I believe, is only the 2nd car to lead this race. Gonzalez leading, I believe, the first 55 or so. And Cole has a lot to gain right now. He's got that front end damage. It's clearly not really affecting the handling of his car. All those tires are set straight and he can dig on through. He's just about a tick faster than the 27 of Snyder. Last lap it was half of a tenth. As you saw coming through 1 and 2 right there, the 27 diamonding the corner, the 8 of Cole gaining a lot of time in the center. A lot of times if you're able to keep your car right up on that curbing, the car rolls through the center pretty good. You get a little outside of that, and it's almost like you're hitting a few marbles, even though clearly there are no marbles to hit. But it's just a lot less grip. It's sort of a feeling where you start to do a bit of a 4-wheel drift, where the car just slides up the track if you're not careful. But Cole pounding on the 27's rear bumper, or at least he would like to be. He's about 3 car lengths back, but Snyder doing a good job hitting his marks right now as he retains the lead.
Definitely a lot of great hard racing going on, as the 26 of Jose Gonzalez in 3rd is now going to get passed by the 33 of David Lanza. Now the 31 of Cadell, who was in 5th that last time by, is going to scoot on by for the 4th spot. So after Jose Gonzalez, again, you mentioned leading about the first 50 laps or so, has not been able to get back up to the speeds that he wants, and is now dropping back into the 5th position right now. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, more green flag racing at the Martinesville Speedway. You're watching ETVLive's live coverage of Chase Race 7 in the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series.
it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing. Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
The green flag still out here at the Martinesville Speedway. ETVLive's live coverage of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series continuing tonight with race number 7 in the chase. Right now, Guy Snyder, the 4th, is up front in the number 1 spot, but is having to navigate through some lap traffic.
Yeah, this is Guy Snyder, actually, whoa, and heavy lap traffic right there. Had a close call with the 78 of Keith Brooks Jr. coming out of 4. Was almost caught 3 wide in the middle, backed out of that. Gets by there unscathed. But Snyder had pulled a second ahead of Chad Cole. Cole getting 4/10 that lap as Snyder really slowed down for the traffic around him. Ed Williams Jr. giving room to our leader as he stays to the outside with his damaged race car. But Chad Cole, seeing this as an opportunity to come back at him. And I tell you what, these two guys with their tires from about 40 laps ago when they came down pit road, able to stretch 3.5 seconds over the guys battling for 3rd. And so they're just racing it out amongst themselves. Dwayne Vincent is up to the 5th position, but obviously a lot of lost time. When you start one of these runs behind a lot of cars, you're in traffic more, obviously losing a lot of speed. You can't push that car to its fullest extent, or to the fullest extent.
Talk about traffic everywhere, pretty much from 14th place on back is in heavy traffic, side by side with the 04 Mike King. On the top has company with the 10 of John Abbott. This is the battle for 15th position going into 3. Abbott on the inside should prevail, and he will do so. And now Arnold is going to sneak his way inside. Can't hang on to it, though, so the 04 of King is going to get hit. Arnold really throwing it into the corner. He's going to get into the 04 of Mike King now. Caution flag is going to fly, and we're going to be under the caution. We saw that brewing. Arnold wanted to get to that inside, really threw it in there, had no chance of making that corner, spinning the 04. Mike King is going to back it into the outside wall, and that is going to put us under our 3rd caution of the night at the Martinesville Speedway.
Yeah, the 47 of Eric Arnold made a mistake very easy to do here, as most of the drivers will be coming down pit road, I do believe. Pretty much everyone on the lead lap will be getting 4 fresh tires. But what happened right there with Eric Arnold is he was trying to outbrake the gentleman above him, get that big run into turn number 1. He missed his braking point. You really got to hit the brakes early here entering turn 1 while in turn 3, and he wasn't able to get it slowed down. You get on the brakes a little harder, the front tires lock a little harder, you're just sent up the track. If you miss the corner by literally a foot here, it sends you up a good 2 lanes up the track. And so that's exactly what happened there. Fortunately, Mike King sent around from the contact.
And definitely, again, that's going to put us under our 3rd caution of the night. Meanwhile, under the caution flag, mostly all the leaders coming down pit road to get some fresh Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Several cars still on pit road. The very short track, an interesting pit road, so we're going to hold off before we run you through the current order here, just to make sure all the scoring updates right now. But definitely everybody coming down and getting their service done to their race cars right now under the caution. You talked about that incident there where just getting too hot into the corner there and locking up those tires. You talked about the setup earlier on before the race started, and it looked like a case of that for sure. He really wanted that inside spot, really had to throw it in there, and just got in a little bit too hot. And unfortunately, that's not going to make Mike King's night any better, because that 04 obviously down pit road with some pretty severe damage, trying to get that thing fixed back up and to get back on the racetrack to try to salvage what they can here. Still a lot of racing to go, over 115 laps remain.
Yeah, looking at the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, he came back down pit road the second time. It looks like he might have been caught speeding. He stopped on the backstretch right now, letting everyone go. It's possible that he has a black flag, because if he has a speeding, as Marvin Turnmeyer actually gets into him as Jose waiting for everyone to pass him on the backstretch. But Jose Gonzalez, if he had a speeding penalty from his pit road exit and he came down pit road like that, he might have a black flag to clear on this restart, which would really effectively end his chances of winning this race, unless we go just enough laps that they. Unless we have enough laps that they simply are able to, everyone come down pit road. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought there, but Gonzalez, a lot of trouble right here in a row as leaders come to the restart. It is Guy Snyder still out front in control of this restart, and coming out of turn number 4, he gets into the gas. That's Rhett McBride in second position, trying to hold off Dwayne Vincent, but Vincent throws it into turn number 1 underneath him, looking for that second spot.
How about Dwayne Vincent starting in 15th, now up to 2nd in the number 13 Havoline Ford Fusion. Dwayne Vincent moving up to 2nd. Side by side now for the 6th spot. The 4 CJ Lavera is stuck on the top side under attack. The 58 of Justin Wilson, good to get around him, and it looks like Lavera staying on that top side, so still side by side with that 58 car going into turn number 1, but 58 of Wilson will prevail that time off of turn number 2. Luckily for Lavera, the 8 of Chad Cole did not get that nose in there immediately, so he is able to pull back in line. And this is where these drivers really have to be careful, a lot of beating and banging, because they're just so close to each other right after these restarts.
Yeah, definitely, and Chad Cole right now fighting his way through traffic, had to restart in 8th position. It's very, very easy to tear up the nose of your race car on these restarts, and that's what has happened to a few of these drivers here. But clean for the most part on this restart is looking through the field. A lot of single file action. I think these drivers realize, all right, we've got 112 laps to go. As the 8 of Cole dives underneath the 4 of Lavera, able to pick up the 7th position. Now the 4 of Lavera under attack from the 2 of Potts, but Lavera able to clear Ronnie down the front stretch and hold on to the 8th position. Steve Ritter, I'd like to give a shout out to Steve Ritter in the 16 car, but because he qualified in the 26th position. Actually, he did not qualify. He started 26th, did not lay down a qualifying lap, and came from the back, stayed out on one of the early pit stops, able to retain that track position, still running in the top 5. Also, Jonathan Cadell right in front of him in 4th place, that 31 that's working on the 15 of McBride. The 31 of Cadell been running top 5 just about most of the evening, and Rhett McBride has started the race in 10th and is really driven up into the mix. But right now, Dwayne Vincent in the 13 just desperately wanting to lead a lap, get that bonus point on Chad Cole. Cole wasn't able to lead earlier when he was up there, and now Dwayne has a shot at Guy Snyder himself.
And you talk about Steve Ritter, one man, definitely not unfamiliar with the victory lane. Has 3 wins so far this season, sitting 9th in points. So definitely a fast car, making very good progress. So the biggest mover so far in this race. You talk about Vincent really needing that bonus point, trying to capitalize on Chad Cole, who has front end damage. Doesn't look like it's affecting Cole too badly. So Vincent, again, he is finding himself right now coming into tonight 21 points back. That's the most that he's been behind since Chicagoland and the race for the chase started back about 7 weeks ago after tonight. So Vincent really needing to knock off some consistent finishes here and hoping that Chad Cole has some trouble in the coming weeks if Vincent wants to be the man walking away with that Bob Earl Racing prize. Let's talk about that real quick. Again, the winner at the end of the season is going to walk away with a VRC Mark II virtual racing seat. Now what that is, it is a simulation racing cockpit designed by championship race car driver Bob Earl. Who better than a real race car driver to design a simulation racing cockpit? After all, he knows what it means to be comfortable behind the wheel. The design Rail Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series, a high quality and affordable virtual racing cockpit priced at just $349 US plus shipping. Check it out today at www.bobearlracing.com.
Yeah, and for $350, you'd be hard to find a better cockpit or racing seat. That's a pretty good deal, and it's a pretty good prize for these Sim Racing League. And but I tell you what, it's no cakewalk. There's a lot of these top drivers, Dwayne Vincent and Chad Cole, obviously having a great battle, and they've done a heck of a job. As a lot of these drivers up here, anyone who races the A Fixed or the NASCAR iRacing series in iRacing knows how a lot of these drivers race and knows how difficult it would be to win this race. Right now, Guy Snyder looking to do just that, able to retain his lead. I've seen him overdrive turn 1 a couple of times, feeling the pressure from Vincent, but he quickly got himself back under control, and Snyder quickly corrected the mistakes that he was making, which makes him even harder to pass. So we have a car around on pit road. Marvin Termeyer, that's not going to bring out a caution because he kept it to pit road, but as he entered pit road, it almost looks like his throttle stuck or something like that. It just went hard into the pit road retaining wall, but Snyder pulling away from Vincent right now. Just that last lap was able to pull almost 0.2 of a second.
Officially halfway through the race here at the Martinesville Speedway. Lap 100 is in the books, and that means that if you are watching the broadcast live right now, pay attention. We're going to do a t-shirt giveaway in support of iRacePink.com, Eddie Weldick, and Double Clutch Media. First person to call executive producer JD Webb right now on ETV Motorsports Radio will walk away with a free t-shirt. So call 317-489-9388. Again, first person to call right now live, 317-489-9388, and walk home with a free t-shirt here for tuning in to the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series event tonight at the Martinesville Speedway.
Yeah, not only will you get a free shirt if you're the first person to call in, but you will get a conversation with JD Webb, which is usually pretty cool all on its own.
Very interesting how those conversations will go for sure. Again, if you haven't called, 317-489-9388 to get that free t-shirt. Again, under the green flag still right now at lap 103. Let's go through a full field rundown to get you guys updated on where everybody is. Take a look at the championship picture as they run. So Guy Snyder the 4th into 27, your race leader. Dwayne Vincent needing a good night, qualifying in an okay position, 15th, not typical to what we see him do, sitting in the 2nd place in his number 13. Brett McBride in the 15, currently sitting in the 3rd position. Tonight's one of the faster cars on the track. 31, Jonathan Cadell sitting in the 4th place. Then biggest mover, 16, Steve Ritter in 5th position. Justin Wilson in the 58, currently sitting 6th. Chad Cole in the 8 in the 7th position. 8th place belonging to the number 4 of CJ LeVere. Ronnie Potts in a 2 car in 9th right now, and rounding off the top 10 is the number 33 of David Lanza.
And running 11th right now, Doug Roth, who started 28th, so nice move forward for him. AJ Browning running 12th after strong qualifying run. 13th is the 66 of Brian Harvey, followed by Mark Bratcher in the 38, running 14th with some damage, able to move his way through the field though, has picked off a lot of spots. 15th is John Abbott. 16th is Rich Jett, who won the spring race here at Martinsville. 17th, Steve Gottschalk, followed by Brennan Mercer, Ed Williams Jr., and Jose Gonzalez. Lost a lap under that pit stop sequence. Currently rounds up the top 20.
look on a 21st position, one lap down is the 04 of Mike King. 22nd to 62, John Wilco, also a lap down at the moment. Keith Brooks Jr. in the 78 down pit road in the 23rd spot. Trouble 5 laps down. Eric Arnold in the 47 behind the wall, currently being shown in the 24th position. Barry Hines in the 18 car, 25th. Also behind the wall, Ryan Vaughn in the 57, 26th position behind the wall. Douglas White in the 27th place behind the wall, along with Marvin Turnmeyer Jr. in 28th. Bill Tomer in the 5 in the 29th spot, and 30th, the 45 of Cale Dresbeck, all behind the wall, and then rounding off the field. 31st place is the Mike Montesi machine in the number 20, so that's going to run out in your field right now. Still very close, though, up front. Nobody really pulling away with these things. All these leaders within a couple car lengths of each other.
Yeah, and so with only 19 on the lead lap, that really lends its hand into some more green flag racing. A lot of guys spread out. A lot of patience being shown right now. Chad Cole has not been able to gain as many spots as he would have liked, as Vincent has retained that second position all this run. Cole right now in the number 8 has driven up to 7th. And looking at his front end, he was able to get some of the damage repaired that he had earlier in the race, and I don't think temperatures are an issue if his driving right now is any indication. I think he's pretty safe on those temperatures, so just cosmetic damage for the number 8 of Chad Cole. But only up to 7th position right now as they work around John Wilco. A lot of the lead lap cars fanning out there down the backstretch. Rhett McBride and Jonathan Kindell in 3rd and 4th. As Justin Wilson works his way by the 62 of Wilco himself. Another one of those retro paint schemes, that mane and tail straight arrow car, very reminiscent of what Derek Cope ran, I believe, in 1996 here in the Cup Series.
Side by side right now for the 14th position. The 10 of John Abbott is going to get around the 66 of Brian Harvey. Can't quite clear him, but going into 3, definitely having the advantage on that inside line is going to be key. They're door to door, but right there on exit, John Abbott's going to pull away and take that spot. So now the 36 car, Rich Jett, is going to give that 66 some more company on the inside. Jett trying to pick up another spot and moving to 15th. He will do so as well. 66 continuing to drop back on the top, as now he is accompanied by another guy in one of those retro paint schemes from last week's race at Talladega, the 91 of Steve Gottschalk. Gottschalk going to go through the inside. Not quite clear. 66 has a nose in there, but with that inside line advantage, the 91 is going to scoot on by. So Brian Harvey and the 66 getting trucked on the top side, losing 3 spots there those last 2 laps.
Yeah, Brian Harvey, sometimes you get stuck on that high side and there's just nothing you can do. And you don't want to overdrive it either, because you drive in there deep, you're just killing that right front tire, and then when you get on the gas, you simply can't, so you're just waiting on it. And so Brian Harvey losing a couple of spots there. Now he's under pressure from Jose Gonzalez. Gonzalez actually a lap behind him. As Brian Harvey looks to come down pit road here, that's an unscheduled pit stop pretty early, as I'm sure he had more than enough fuel. But it might be some strategy play here, or possibly some damage that he has to get fixed. But surprised to see him come to pit road. That's only going to leave 18 on the lead lap.
How about the 26 of Jose Gonzalez? Let's take a look at him right now in the 20th position, leading about the first 50 laps of this race. Cars started to go away from him on that top side, now finding himself 1 lap down, and not the first car a lap down either. The first car 1 lap down is the 66 of Harvey. So Gonzalez's night, after starting off so good, having some trouble here once we get into the mid part of this race. A 1 lap down, so not the night that he was looking for at this point. He's sitting 6th in the points, only 3 back from Ronnie Potts in 5th. So he's definitely been trying to battle and get a top 5 by the time we get to the end of the season. So things not going his way right now in that 26 machine.
Yeah, and I think what happened was simply with that speeding penalty, he came back into pit road the next time by, I believe. And as he was exiting, he actually got beat out of pit road by the pace car, so it lines him up there. And simply hasn't had the opportunity to take a wave around, so he still finds himself 1 lap down. And the 78 also has taken his car behind the wall, as well as Brian Harvey, so that leaves 21 cars running, 17 on the lead lap.
And definitely, again, you got to look at those top runners, the top 6 within about 2 seconds of each other, so still very close quarters racing up front. Nobody really checking out on the field. However, the 27 of Snyder has a 7/10 of a second lead. Remember, if you want to claim a free t-shirt, call right now, 317-489-9388. And get a chance to talk to none other than the Cowboy, J.D. Webb. Again, 317-489-9388 in support of iRacePink.com here on ETVLive. We're going to go to another commercial break. When we come back, hopefully the green flag will still be out at the Martinesville Speedway. You're watching ETVLive's live coverage of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50-caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
And back live here at the Martinesville Speedway. We are taking a look at the replay right now. Some trouble on the racetrack. 29 Brennan Mercer making contact with the wall while we were on the commercial break. It's ETVLive's live coverage of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series presented by Bob Earl Racing. My name is Evan Pasoko. Joining me up in the booth again on this Monday night, Harrison Weidlitz. As always, Harrison, we've seen a pretty clean Martinesville Speedway race. You could say not a lot of spinners. We've had our fair share of contact, but so far we're seeing some good green flag runs throughout the night.
Yeah, at this point, we find ourselves with only about 68 laps to go as they come across the stripe. Dwayne Vincent chasing down Guy Snyder little by little on this long run. These cars change a lot over the course of a run. Dwayne Vincent doing a good job on older tires. But yeah, we had a couple of earlier wrecks that took a number of cars out of the race. And now we find ourselves with 16 on the lead lap, 21 in the race. And a lot of times it's exactly what you need to get a good long green flag run. The drivers get a little bit more space on the racetrack. And then once you get going in one of these green runs, cars really build space between them here, even though there's a lot of cars on a really small track. But as they spread out, that just gives you some room to just run your own line, and you're not racing each other too hard unless you get you're one of the lucky ones who is running with someone running the exact same speeds as you.
Congratulations to Scott Poor for calling in, winning that t-shirt here on ETVLive. You notice a lot of pink numbers on these race cars tonight. That's because of a promotion here. Stephen Herring is donating $5 for every car with pink numbers or decals in tonight's race, and RSR is also going to match those proceeds. And in addition, if the car ended up in victory lane at the end of the night, has pink on it. Another $50 proceeds going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Great thing about that organization is 91 cents for every dollar goes directly to the cancer research. And you gotta talk about the iRacePink.com. The last few days here on ETVLive, you could see the Alan Binder Beauty and Beast Charity Challenge, along with the Art Wheeler Memorial Fall Classic in partnership with the USTRA Triple Crown Series. Those telethon style races took place last week. If you want to donate, never too late. We managed to exceed our goal, but feel free to go to iRacePink.com and chip in some more in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But again, great to see all the pink on the racetrack for tonight's race.
Yeah, and Scott, who won that t-shirt just now by calling in, he's actually AJ Browning's brother, I'm told. And so as we watch that 22 car AJ Browning, AJ qualified in the top 5, I do believe. He qualified 4th, currently finds himself in 12th, and with that Bass Pro Shop sponsorship on that 22. And I know we're not supposed to have biases as broadcasters, but I tell you what, one bias I do have is I'm a longtime big Martin Truex fan, and so that Bass Pro Shop sponsorship, something I usually like to see.
And definitely, for sure, we're going to go on board with that number 22 of Browning, AJ Browning, the number 22 sitting in 12th place. Going to go on board with him for a couple laps here. You see in front of him, taking a look, he's in the 12th position right now, working some lap traffic in front of him at the moment. The next car that he's racing for position is turn 3, so he's sitting about mid-pack there on that lead lap. About 10 seconds, 14 seconds actually off our leader, so he's going to negotiate his way around that 29 car of Brennan Mercer here, who is lap traffic, but the 22 definitely having a solid run. I think he does have a race car to contend for the lead. It's all about track position, though. You mentioned qualified 4th, so we know he has the car to do it. He just needs to try to work his way up front here, and then when it gets down to it, and then the laps start to wind down, be in contention to take home that checkered flag.
Yeah, as he works underneath the 29 of Brennan Mercer here, certainly a caution would change this race big time. It'll give a lot of these guys a shot. AJ Browning dealing with a tight condition as we ride on board with him. He was driving into turn 1 pretty hard, sliding up the track, a lot of wheel, and he's been pretty easy on that throttle, not hearing a whole lot of tire spin, so he's been pretty good on his rear tires. Hits 3 and 4 actually pretty well right there. A little bit late on the throttle, but you can see just how early these guys, they cross the stripe. You see that Nextel Cup sign up against the wall just after the start-finish line. When you come to that, right at the end of it, most of these guys, that's their breaking point for the most part. The same goes for the backstretch. This is just one of those tracks you get into a rhythm and you repeat, and if you do it well, it pays off, it pays dividends.
And definitely right now, you take a look, 16 cars remain on the lead lap. Again, lots of green flag racing that we've seen so far tonight in the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series race at Martinesville. Another track that could act as a wild card. We saw a tame Talladega last week, and really not a lot of wrecking going on here at Martinesville. Normally a track where you see lots of beating and banging and tempers. So far, all the incidents that we've seen, accidental and nothing major. We have seen some guys getting roughed up, but that's just nature of the close quarter short track racing here at the Martinesville Speedway. Again, very unique track, just over half a mile in length with asphalt and concrete. You see concrete in the turns and asphalt on that top lane and on the straightaways. Very, very unique track, and a track with a lot of great history, and is showing us a great race so far. Up front, Snyder still holding on to about a 4/10 of a second lead over Dwayne Vincent. However, we have an update on the 10 car, John Abbott. John Abbott under attack by the 36 of Rich Jett. John Abbott in 13th place is battling a loose race car right now in the middle of this run.
Yeah, John Abbott, mostly on exit. If you're going to be loose here, you're going to be loose on exit. And that has everything to do with these rear tires. They give up a lot of grip as you just scrub that rubber off of them, getting hard under the throttle. And right now he's under attack from the 30. Actually was just able to clear a bunch of car lengths off that corner. But right behind him is Rich Jett in the 36 that's trying to take advantage of that. And Rich Jett is running a Dave Blaney paint scheme from back about 12 years ago, that Amico car. Which almost won Atlanta, which is probably a very, very bittersweet memory in Rich Jett. That is the race that got away for Dave Blaney in Atlanta back in I want to say 2001, but I'm not 100% on that. But Rich Jett, the winner here in the spring, as we mentioned, right now in 14th. Not the run that he was probably looking for, but he's been doing a solid job, and he's gained, I believe, 15 spots from his qualifying position. And right behind him, the number 91 of Steve Gottschalk, running that Lenny Pond scheme that we talked about at Talladega last week. Going back to the early 70s when Steve himself was working at that team as a 17-year-old kid learning the ropes in NASCAR. Really cool experience. Lenny Pond is a winner at Talladega. I want to say it was the 1978 Talladega 500 that he won. Might have been off by 2 years. It might have been 76. But I'm going to say 78 and hope I'm right. But Steve Gottschalk right now running in the 15th position.
Those guys at the back of that lead lap need to get worried because they could possibly be losing their lap here soon. Race leader Guy Snyder running laps in the high 20 seconds. Next car to go a lap down would be that 22 of AJ Browning. Browning with about a car length on your race leader Snyder. Snyder's going to go to the inside as the 22 yields to that lead lap car. So 22 is going to go a lap down, which leaves 15 cars on the lead lap. So all those guys at the back there, you have Gottschalk, Jett, Abbott, Bratcher, and Roth. In some jeopardy here to lose a lap, and if you do lose a lap when we see a caution, you better hope that the way pit stops work out, you can get that wave around or be that lucky dog car to try to get anything here at the end of the race. But definitely the way it runs right now, Snyder opening up his gap now to 1 second, so gaining about 6/10 here in the last couple of laps over Dwayne Vincent as they continue to negotiate through some lap traffic.
Yeah, and as they cross the line, it is 46 laps to go in this race at Martinesville. And they're running lap times in the mid to upper 20-second bracket, which means that we are not far away from that checkered flag, especially should we stay green. But the pressure will be on Snyder here in a few laps as he makes his way closer and closer to that battle from 12th through 15th that we were just looking at, which is Bratcher, who's got some front-end damage from earlier in the race, John Abbott in the 10, Rich Jett in the 36, Steve Gottschalk in the 91. And so when Snyder gets up to them, that's going to put the pressure on him because it should allow Dwayne Vincent to close in on him. And actually, looking back through the field, two of the movers who are coming closer and closer to the leaders, now it's to be seen if they're able to catch that, to catch up to them should we stay green. But the 15 of Brett McBride running pretty good lap times, as well as the 8 of Chad Cole. In fact, the number 8 of Chad Cole, I believe, is the fastest car on the racetrack. But he's got about 2.5 seconds to make up to catch up to the guy who was trying to chase him down in points, 13 of Vincent.
And definitely neither of those guys have been able to lead their lap yet in tonight's race. Again, Vincent right now has seen his biggest deficit of the entire chase of 21 points entering tonight, with Chad Cole only 2 positions behind him, not going to make up any stellar ground, and CJ LaVere, who this is a night that could make or break his chase, really needing to capitalize in tonight's action in 8th, so not a bad run, but not stellar either. So when the guys in front of you in points are in front of you on the racetrack, you're only going to go backwards, and that's why it's so competitive here late in the going as well. So again, Snyder 1.2 seconds now out front. Vincent's car not quite that fast, but we're very spread out as opposed to about the first 50 laps, you could say, of this green flag run. Everybody was pretty close together, but once these cars started to drop off the lap, some cars taking them behind the wall, things really getting spread out here, and next thing we know, we're already on lap number 161 of 200, so things are going to start to wind down here soon.
Yeah, not much time left at all. These guys are running pretty much a full fuel run. In fact, some of the guys who stayed out on the last caution, they might be close on fuel. These cars can run at least 120 laps on fuel, might be more like 130. Don't have the exact number, but some of these guys might be pushing it somewhat close. Everyone who pitted on the most recent caution will be able to make it the rest of the way, though. And so it might be a mixed bag here. I'm not 100%. But Guy Snyder continuing to pull away from Dwayne Vincent right now, running in the 2040s range. His last 2 laps, 2046, 2048. That is really a pretty much right where you want to be at this stage of a run. Snyder is doing a really good job, and he's also looking for his first win on the season. And should we stay green, it's looking pretty good for him.
And definitely we're hearing lots of race cars, lots of drivers, very loose, very late on the going in this green flag run. 22 car, AJ Browning in the wall, 3 wide off 4, contact with the 29 car is going to go around Brennan Mercer into the inside wall. Caution flag will fly, and now we're going to group them back up and send them off to the checkered flag. And that happened off of turn number 3. And you saw them go 3 wide. The 22, AJ Browning, reporting that he possibly had a tire down on the top, making contact with the 29 car, and 29 getting spun around and into the wall. So the 22 of Browning is going to bring out our caution. I do believe fourth caution of the night. Leaders coming down pit road.
Yeah, everyone going to come down pit road, get 4 fresh tires here. Would be completely shocked if someone goes for 2 tires on strategy, just because it's been so long that they're not going to be able to hold on to that position. So it should be 4 for everybody. And Guy Snyder hoping his pit crew does the job. Dwayne Vincent hoping his pit crew does the job. Chad Cole and Rhett McBride keeping the pit road a little bit of ways behind those guys, so they're probably not going to be able to make up a spot. But Vincent getting 4 fresh tires, going to be exiting the first one to leave his stall. Looks like a clean pit stop. If I had to take a guess, I think it was a low 13-second stop. And as they work their way through the exit, Snyder is going to be the one exiting pit road ahead of Vincent, using that curve to stay in front of that 13 car. So Snyder comes in as the leader, comes out as the leader, and that is big because that was probably the last pit stop of the race. And Snyder's going to have that track position. He's going to dictate where they go in this restart.
And definitely, and one thing you have to look out is that top lane is not the preferred lane. Now, on the restarts earlier in the going, when Gonzalez was leading, he was on the loud pedal in turn 3. But we see some drivers wait till they get off 4. Again, a very small track, very tight racing. It's going to be interesting to see if those guys on the top lane can make it work. The top 3 seem to be able to get single file, but they're on back. They stay side by side. We're going to go to our final commercial break of the evening here, and we're going to come back and see who's going to get the victory lane at the end here. Again, Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series live on ETVLive. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And back live here at the Martinesville Speedway. The field is going back under the green flag just that last time, working on lap 170. Those top 3-4 drivers, everybody in the top 10 pretty much signified out, but they're wrecking in turn number 3, so the caution flag going to come back out. The 2 of Ronnie Potts in the wall, the 33 of David Lanza in the outside wall as well. That happened. The contact was between the 2 and the 33 going into turn 3. Looking like the 2 just got on the brakes too early, or the 33 of Lanza did not anticipate him to brake that early, I believe, but the 33 running over that 2 car spinning it out, getting into the outside wall, and the 33 got trapped up there behind him. So that's going to put us under our 5th caution of the night, and we'll just group them back up. Those top 10, though, excluding those guys, really got single file quickly up front.
Yeah, that was a tough break for Ronnie Potts, as he had gone up to the 8th position. Obviously, not too many laps to work with here, but he will be able to get some spots back. But Dave Lanza just... this is one of those things where you're just anticipating where the car in front of you is going to hit the brakes, and sometimes he gets wrong. And so Potts might have hit the brakes a little bit early, trying to stay off of the guys in front of him early on this restart. Maybe Dave missed it a little bit. Hard to tell. Either way, Lanza gets into the wall a little bit, slowing down for it. Ronnie Potts gets the bulk of that damage. And I think Ronnie is actually going to stay out to retain what track position that he has. Most of the guys, pretty much everyone, going to stay out here under this yellow flag period to retain their spots, with the caution coming out so quickly. So just a single car incident pretty much there, or a 2-car incident. But Guy Snyder going to have to do another one of these restarts. But I tell you what, when you're the leader here, you feel pretty good about these restarts.
When you talk about your leader right now, first place, the number 27, Guy Snyder, the 4th. sitting 8th in the championship standings entering tonight. No wins on the season, so he is looking to pick up his first victory on the 2013 campaign. A little bit of a different story for those guys around him. Dwayne Vincent, second in the number 13, has 13 wins. Chad Cole with 9, so the 27 with a dominant car so far this evening, looking to finish it off and get his first win of the season and try to gain a couple spots there in the championship standings. He could also put up a battle to finish in the top 5. Again, still 3 races to go, so again, not just battles up for the winner in the championship, but a lot of these guys wanting to get up into the top 5, or if you're near the back of these, trying to get up into the top 10. But the light's still on that Ford First Racing main pace car. The field pretty much still doubled up. Not a lot of action on pit road, if any, so they didn't really go single file. They've been kind of running around double file. The lights have gone off, though, this time by, so we're going to go green on lap number 176. I do believe about 25 to go when that happened.
Yeah, and looking at the running order, as the lights go out on the pace car this time by, they're going to take the green flag. The pressure's on Dwayne Vincent right now because Chad Cole has that bottom line. So if Chad Cole hits the restart pretty well, Vincent's going to feel the pressure. Vincent wants to get a really good restart right here to hold on to that second position. As Guy Snyder's in control of the restart, he's waiting and he goes early on in 3 and 4, and that works out for Chad Cole. He's able to hit the gas in the corner, gain on Vincent. Vincent going to try to make that high side work.
Turn number 1. They're piling them in. Caution flag is going to fly. The 58 of Wilson into the wall. Checking up was occurring. We heard some drivers come over the radio on our end of things, and they piled them up going into turn number 1. Caution back out quick here, and this all happened around, I want to say, row 3 or 4. It was with the 58 of Wilson and the 16 car of let's take a look here on the front. 16 and the 58 making contact. So Wilson coming down the racetrack, that he's saying on the radio, apologizing. The 16 of Ritter maybe coming up a little bit, but regardless, 16 got on the brakes, got into the inside wall, but the 4 car Lavere turning Wilson into the outside wall. A lot of drivers had to squeak their way through there as well. But some of them picking up some damage, but nonetheless under another caution here at the Martinesville Speedway. It's been pretty much clean and green all the way till this point, but I guess cautions breed cautions, especially late in the going.
Yeah, and points implications possibly for that 4 of Lavere. He got into that. He got into the side of. I'll have to go back and look real fast. I believe he got into the side of the 58 pretty hard. Going down the front stretch there. There's a situation where Wilson took the blame, and it was probably because he was spinning his tires on the restart. He got into the gas. When the leader restarts the race that early and you're in second or third gear, very easy to spin the tires here on that curve. And so Wilson gets a little bit loose on exit, and they meet in the middle there. And a lot of cars involved. 4 with heavy damage. Doug Roth gets a little bit of a piece of it, but CJ Lavere staying out, going to be restarting with about 20 laps to go, and he's just hoping that temperatures will not be an issue here. But even if they are, he should be able to make 20 laps.
Yeah, definitely. You got to compare the damage on that 4 car to the damage on the 8 of Chad Cole. We've seen Cole with much heavier damage on the front end earlier on in the going, and he's managed to get that repaired over the night as he's made his pit stops. And definitely that front end looking a lot better now. One major difference that changed there on that short, about half a lap, you could say, of green flag racing is that second position car. The light's still on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car, so not going green quite yet. But the 27 decider remaining first. The 8 of Chad Cole is now going to be tossed up to that top. Now again, the inside, the preferred lane. Looks like if you're sitting up there in the top 3, maybe you'll single file things out. But let's see if Dwayne Vincent maybe can do anything better now being behind race leader Guy Snyder. Again, we've seen a lot of variation in when the drivers come to the green flag so far tonight. Earlier on in the going, we've seen guys go into 3, we've seen guys going out of 4, and in the middle of the corner. And the way these guys are so close, the way that the racetrack's so tight, that's what has led to these previous 2 cautions, just because everybody is itching to get going here, as there's less now than 20 laps to go.
Yeah, and actually, as we were talking about that wreck a second ago, I think I might have said that CJ Lavere was one to really worry about with that damage, but I do want to point out, too, the bigger victims, obviously. Steve Ritter, a lot of damage, and Rhett McBride. Rhett McBride got into it as Ritter was coming back across the track. Both those drivers losing laps, repairing damage on pit road. And on another note, running 13th right now, the 26 of Jose Gonzalez got the lucky dog 2 cautions ago with the accident with the 33 and the 2. So Gonzalez will be restarting in 13th and I think we'll see him put on some moves to try to get the best finish that he can. As these drivers are doubling up, they're going to be restarting with 18 laps to go. Guy Snyder in control. Chad Cole was able to get to second. However, that puts Vincent on the inside now, so Vincent's going to try to do exactly what Cole did to him the previous restart.
Ford First Racing Mustang pace car down pit road, field in the hands of the 27 of Guy Snyder the fourth. There he goes off turn number 4. The green flag back out. Now we're side by side for second, and Chad Cole with the advantage on the top. Vincent's going to throw it in, and Chad Cole is going to go into the wall. The top two in the championship wrecking each other into turn number 1. Vincent trying to hang on to the inside. Cole into the outside wall with major damage. Vincent with damage. And big chase implications as the top two get into each other hard late in going at Martinesville.
Yeah, and certainly Chad Cole not happy. I think what happened there was Dwayne Vincent, Chad Cole just cleared him on the straightaway on that restart. Dwayne didn't want to give up that spot. He tried to dive it in below him, but I think he simply missed the corner a little bit. Vincent quickly over the radio, disappointed that he'd screwed up there. But not much chatter other than that. But Vincent's car might be pretty broken. He got into the wall and just seems to be kind of reacting weirdly, exiting these corners under yellow alone. So this might be a trouble spot because he's going to be restarting up here. He's getting his spot back up in the third position or so. But Vincent there just missed turn number 1 and got into Chad Cole. And that's just a really rough deal because I don't think either of those drivers obviously wanted that to happen.
Definitely a tough break. Chad Cole getting the worst end of it. Down pit road, now leaving pit road, trying to make his mandatory repairs, I do believe. Looking at the damage on that car, obviously has to do it to avoid a black flag. You got to talk about Vincent being shown second. Doesn't really look like he has a lot of damage. You mentioned there could be some stuff under that race car with the suspension. Stuff that we can't see below the sheet metal there, but a very strange and hard contact incident going into one again. Cole is clearing Vincent. Vincent tried to hang on, similar to what we saw earlier, and when the 8 got around, actually got into the rear end of our race leader. Race leader hung on to it, but Chad Cole got a lot of damage as he got nailed by the 91 car of Gottschalk driving by that wreck. So now Vincent is going to come down pit road. And now let's see where these guys end up at the end of the race, because Chad Cole and Dwayne Vincent, top 2 in points, are down pit road trying to get that fixed. And now we see CJ LaVere in the top 5. So late race changes here could really throw the curveball and that wild card, you could say, into these chase standings.
Yeah, both of our top guys in points will be restarting in the back. Dwayne Vincent's going to get the end longest line for causing that wreck when he overdrove turn 1. And he has come down pit road to fix whatever damage he can take care of. But he's going to have to get going here because the pace car just went by him. He's going to lose a lap here. And Chad Cole, I think, is going to lose a lap as well. Saw him warp out for a second there. Wasn't sure if he took it pretty much behind the wall. Both those drivers losing a lap here, where this is pretty much going to wash it out. And now CJ LaVere, as you pointed out, has the chance to capitalize. We're coming up on just about 10 laps to go when they're going to restart this race, or 11. And Guy Snyder is still in control, but Jonathan Cadell's up there. We've seen Cadell be aggressive. This is a driver who can win the race. And oh, by the way, avoiding all of this trouble, the number 36 of Rich Jett, just 50 laps ago, we saw him running about 12th or 13th. He is running 3rd for this restart. And it will be, as they actually extend the caution to sort out the order, they're going to take the green flag with, I believe, 10 laps to go by the time we come around to it, so 2 laps from now.
And definitely a lot of drivers discussing with officials, some heated emotions here, because the track is so small that when we see cautions like this, the iRacing service can apply penalties to some drivers, and they don't really know why, black flags and whatnot. So again, the caution being thrown for one more lap just so that everybody can get things sorted back out here and get back going. The lights are off on the pace car. We're going to throw it again. Again, just trying to get everything finalized. However, the more we do this, the less laps there are. And again, the possibility of, if we see another caution, do we get back to the restart? Because they pretty much wrecked him in the first 2 laps here, these last 3 restart attempts. So let's see how they negotiate this. But light's still on the pace car, so at least 1.5 more circuit.
Yeah, and with that recent delay in the green flag, Right now, they're slated to take the green with 9 laps to go. As they come around this time by, the lights will go out again on the pace car, and it'll become 10 to go. Guy Snyder in control. Jonathan Cadell, though, this is an interesting lineup up here. CJ Lavere got that damage on that restart wreck a few laps ago, and he's up here in the battle too. And so Snyder, obviously, with a clean race car, no real damage, and he's been really fast this race. He's in a great spot, but he's got to worry because these caution flags keep these other drivers right with him. But we're going to get our answer to what's going to happen very quickly here, as we are going to be coming to the restart this time by.
Dwayne Vincent with the EOL penalty being blamed with the cause of the caution. Green flag back in the air. Guy Snyder on the loud pedals side by side for second. Behind them, 31. Cadell with the advantage. So CJ Lavere in fourth. Really hard into the corner. Lavere almost gets a shot. The 43 of Doug Roth in the back bumper of Lavere. They're hanging on to it for now. John Abbott up the hill. They're scrambling all over the racetrack, but Snyder up front by 4 car lengths.
Yeah, that was a really close call for CJ Lavere. He was defending his position from Doug Roth, who was looking low, and Doug Roth got into him as he got into Rich Jett, as they were all just throwing it into turn number 1. All the drivers able to avoid an accident there. Really good job holding onto their race cars. Rich Jett has driven away from those guys. Jett is closing in on these leaders, and Jett right now in third. Cadell in the 31 stalking the 27 of Snyder. Now we saw Snyder go really early on that restart, similar to what Jose Gonzalez was doing, but look at Jonathan Cadell all over that 27 car as he wants this win about as badly as anyone in this field. They cross the stripe this time by as 6 laps to go.
He better get moving because I think a caution may end it at this point, so the 31's got to try to make something work. Do they use the bumpers? How do they negotiate? This time down the back straightaway, he has about 2 car lengths. Really throwing it into turn 3 is the 31, trying to get it to stick. He did a good job there, but he has to compromise that on a corner exit speed. So he's going to drop back and lose a little bit of ground this time by taking a look in 1 and 2. Still there, about half a car length off. He is there. He's really going to have to make an aggressive move to get it. Again, working lap 196 this time by the start-finish line. 4 to go. A caution is going to end it, so the 31s better step it up because they're racing hard all over the track.
Yeah, quite the race for the win right now with 4 to go. 31 all over the 27 of Snyder. Snyder desperately does not want to give this up at this point after leading so many laps.
The 26, Jose Gonzalez around. Caution. This race is done. Guy Snyder is going to go to victory lane. I was taking a look, and once I saw these guys going down the front stretch, didn't look good. The 2 car of Ronnie Potts trying to make it work on the inside. 26 not quite knowing that he was there coming down. 26 was able to lock him up and pretty much save that car, but got hit by the 65, and that is going to bring out the caution, and the race is going to be over. Guy Snyder just needs to make it around a couple more laps, and he's going to be able to pick up race win number 1 on the 2013 Real Sim Racing campaign. Entering tonight 8th in the points, trying to advance and maybe look for a top 5 here as the season goes out here. After tonight, 3 to go. We're going to be at Texas, Phoenix, and then Homestead to close it off.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be Guy Snyder's first win of this season, I do believe, which is a long overdue win for Guy Snyder. It is the first win of the season for him. We've seen him run up front. We've seen him run top 2, top 3 at a lot of these racetracks. I believe it was Dover not too long ago that he came home with a 2nd place finish most recently. And that 27 car has had a lot of speed throughout the year. And all he needs to do is complete this final lap as they're going to come around here, take the white flag. Jonathan Cadell with also a really strong finish. I believe he got a 2nd or 3rd place finish a couple laps ago as well. And so just 1 more lap to be completed for these guys. The race really got rough at the end. Only 12 on the lead lap. Chad Cole's going to finish 13th. Dwayne Vincent's going to finish 14th after their tangle entering turn number 1. With CJ Lavere finishing 4th, he's going to be about 21 points or 22 points behind those guys. So it gets a little bit closer heading into those final races.
And definitely this time working through turn 3 and 4, the 27 still under power off the corner. The fans rising to their feet, and this time by they're going to cross that start-finish line. Guy Snyder going to come up victorious tonight, having those pink numbers. So that's another $50 to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Going to drift and do some burnouts in the corners, reminiscent of Jeff Gordon. Very happy getting his first win this season. Guy Snyder, the 4th driver's passing on the congratulations as well. pretty sick donuts, I would say, burnouts there to celebrate.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Elated to say the least. Guy Snyder very happy that he just took home this win. This is a hard track to win at, and you know he's certainly enjoying it.
Definitely the celebration continues for Guy Snyder the fourth in the number 27. Again, first win, long overdue. Doing the burnouts all over the racetrack. Very excited. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, the post-race show, we'll talk to our top 3 finishers, give away some more t-shirts, and set you guys up for next week. You're watching ETVLive's live coverage of the Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series from Martinesville. And back live here at the Martinesville Speedway, ETVLive's live coverage of the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series continuing. Race 7 of the chase is in the books, but before we get to victory lane, I am down here on pit road with your third place finisher, Rich Jett. Rich, driving your number 36 car, you started this race back in the 29th position. How did you manage to work your way up to the front and get a top 3?
Very, very slowly and very, very cautiously. I don't know if I even had an incident on the race, thankfully. I know a little bit of damage can hurt you a long way here, and just kept it clean and kept it out of traffic, basically, in harm's way.
You took home the checkered flag here in the spring race on the 2013 Real Sim Racing campaign, taking home that win. What do you think makes you so successful at a tough track like this?
Usually aggression gets you the really good finishes, but I think a little bit more of a cautious, aggressive approach can help, and I think that's what really works in my favor here.
And definitely, you got to look forward to the next 3 races. We're going to be at Texas, Phoenix, Homestead. Do you think that we'll see you up in that top 3 again and go to victory lane possibly before the season's out? How confident are you at those racetracks?
Not very at Homestead or Texas, possibly Phoenix. I like the flat tracks a little bit better, but you never know what can happen. Just hope for luck, and luck be on my side, and make up points, and who knows what can ever happen.
You talk about points entering tonight, 7th position, 62 back of the points leader. You're probably going to be looking for a top 5 to close off the season. That's definitely feasible with a strong run tonight. We don't have the updated points left, but talk about how you're going to try to be consistent here throughout the rest of the season and try to make that top 5 mark in points.
Just have to string together some good runs. I've been on a pretty good hot streak and have to keep it alive. Early in the season, when I got that win, I don't think I finished in the top 5 for about 9 months after that. So it took a while to get back going, but hopefully I'm on a tear here and keep it alive.
And definitely, who makes it happen for you? Any shout-outs do you want to throw out there?
Real Sim Racing, all you guys at ETV, Stroke Races, John and Nick and Brennan help me out all the time, figuring out setups and what to do with the fuel and tires and when to do things, and it all worked out.
Well, definitely. Hey, congrats on a solid top 3 finish at the paperclip, and good luck in the next coming weeks.
Thank you.
That is Rich Jett, the number 36, taking home a solid top 3 finish tonight at Martinesville. Now, I do believe, Harrison, you're down there on pit road with our second place finisher, oh so close to the checkered flag, the number 31, Jonathan Cadell.
Yeah, Cadell was second fastest in practice, third in qualifying, finished second in the race, and he was in the mix top 5 all race long. And I tell you what, finished second at Charlotte a few weeks ago, got second here tonight. Do you think you could have done anything differently to get that win?
I think the first pit stop, if I wouldn't have stayed out, I'd have had a lot better tires there on that long green run that we had. But at hindsight, I went for track position and everybody pit behind me, so I just had to play the hand I was dealt.
Yeah, and at this racetrack, certainly the car's handling changes big time over the course of a run as these tires wear. We saw a lot of those short stints. We also saw a really long green flag run. And where did you think you were really at your best, and how did the car feel for you?
I was good on the short run and halfway through the long run, but there towards the end of that long run, it was all I could do to keep it under control. I know me and Justin Wilson about wrecked 10 times coming off the turn.
And then coming down to that end of the race, was the bumper ever an option for you, or if you were going to win, did you want it to be as clean as possible?
Oh, it was definitely an option. I wanted to so bad, but I didn't want to win that way. And guy's a good guy, and I didn't want to steal the glory that way. So, and then I knew the caution was going to come out because I don't think I've ever finished a race under the green flag here at Martinesville. But that's my second place finish here. I'll get them one of these days.
Yeah, and looking into the final 3 races of the season, coming up on Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead. Texas is somewhat similar to Charlotte, certainly a track that you got to drive differently, but we saw you run so well at Charlotte, but obviously ran really well here at Martinesville too. That could factor into maybe the way you got to drive Phoenix. But looking at those 3 tracks, are you going to be able to make all 3, and which ones do you think provide the best chance of getting your first win?
I should be able to make Texas and Phoenix, and if you remember back in the spring, I was running up front most of the night at Phoenix. I just love the flat tracks. Got caught up there at the end in the wreck, but that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. I got that one circled. I'm going to make a lot of practice laps, but you never know. I'm never good at Martinesville. I was a lap down by lap 5 back in the spring, and just put in a lot of practice and ended up with a second place.
Yeah, and a solid second place finish at that. Put all the pressure in the world on Guy Snyder. Taking home second, but who makes it happen for you? Who would you like to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank Steve Herring and RSR. I know they put forth a lot of money for breast cancer research tonight. I'd like to thank my sponsors, strutmasters.com, and thank my wife for putting up with me doing this every Monday.
It's our second place finisher, Jonathan Cadell, and Evan has caught up with tonight's winner.
And definitely we're down here in the victory lane. Long overdue. Guy Snyder taking home his first win in the 2013 Real Sim Racing Full Throttle Cup Series season. Big improvement from where you finished in the spring.
Any races like this where I don't think I've ever gotten one in the RCR or the RSR where I went out there and I led 144 laps on the day, and it was just I felt like I actually was in control of the race most of the time. Well, as much as you can be anyhow. And it was just a blast. I was really kind of hoping it would have went green there. Would have saved myself a couple extra beats on the old heart, but came out with the W. And other than that one scare going into that corner where a sliding 8 came to my rear bumper, I guess it was pretty uneventful.
You definitely talk us through that. You mentioned uneventful. You were pretty much near that front of the field all night. We know you had a fast car, fifth fastest in the practice, qualifying 6th. Taking home the W. Talk us through those late restarts when we kept seeing the cautions trying to hold everybody off, and then obviously that end there with the 31 right on your back bumper. Walk us through what that was like for you behind the wheel.
Well, it all came back to like that first restart where Jose stayed out, and Jose Gonzalez, he's really good, and the guys that are really good can run consistent laps in the same line. And I saw that even though we were tenths faster than him, the fact that he could hold the bottom was just pivotal, that you couldn't get around him. And I felt really safe with Chad and Dwayne up there. They're going for the points championship, and I couldn't believe that when that happened and I got hit and slid sideways, and I guess that made me earn the victory a little bit more. But yeah, I really thought, I thought yellows would come out there at the end, and but I did not expect to have any of that happen. And then you throw in Cadell, who's also hungry for a win. He's like me, just going for W's really right now, and that kind of just shuffled the deck there. And I saw he posted the fastest lap of the night, so he was going to be a contender, and I don't know, scared, but it worked out.
And definitely got to take a look at points now. You're sitting 6th in the points after tonight. Only about 7 points separate you from 4th, so depending on how these next few races go for you, you could end up with a solid top 4 finish in the points at the end of the season. You look forward, we're going to the racetracks Texas, Phoenix, and then Homestead. Do you think that you can compete at the level that you did tonight, maybe get in victory lane again and lock up that fourth place position in points rather?
I really hope, we can keep climbing the standings, but I've actually gotten a lot better. You guys actually started interviewing me when I stopped thinking about points, so I guess we'll just keep with that method. Like I said, Chad and Dwayne, if I hadn't had some of those bad finishes at the beginning, I might be talking points right now, but you just kind of got to take what you can get and go after wins, and it's worked the last, I think, 3 weeks. I think I've talked to you guys, so it's pretty exciting.
And definitely we'll see you tomorrow night on the Rewind to BS and Back Talk, actually the BS and Back Talk radio show tomorrow night on Live Radio. In victory lane, well overdue, your first win of the season. Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, I just got to thank ETV for putting me on that radio show tomorrow. I was afraid maybe it was going to jinx me there, and we'd be talking about how I lost the race, in the final restart tonight. And I got to thank Jonathan Cadell. He raced, like a gentleman there, and I know he was hungry, and I figured, the only way you're going to get around somebody's to bump him, unless I would have messed up, which I wouldn't put past myself, but he's always a good competitor. Love racing him. I got to thank my teammates, Team Manchild Motorsports, Dave Lanza. He helped me a lot tonight. He didn't have a great run, but he was quicker than me, I'd say, a lot of the night, and got to say get well to Glenn Campbell. He had back surgery. That's why I haven't seen him the last couple weeks, and I haven't heard from him, but I'm sure he's doing good because he's a tough old guy. And just got to thank RSR, the admins, especially that Steve Herring. He puts a lot of effort forth. And Bob Earl Racing Chassis for that thing that Chad's probably going to get. The racing chassis he's going to get.
And congrats on the win. Good luck in our upcoming races.
Thank you.
He touched on it right there again. Steve Herring donated $5 for every car tonight that had either a pink number or pink decals on the car. Real Sim Racing would match that as well. And if a car with pink got to victory lane, another $50. And I see a bright pink number 27 on the roof of Guy Snyder's machine as well. Again, those donations going to the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And also, these guys here in the top 3, that you don't know it yet, so I guess you're going to find out now. These top 3 finishers are going to walk away with a free t-shirt on behalf of Eddie Walczyk in benefit of the iRacePink.com program as well. Also, 11th place finisher, the 29 Brennan Mercer, finishing in the random position that gets another t-shirt as well. And everybody in here also going to get a decal for that as well. So a great night of racing at the Martinesville Speedway for a great cause here to wrap up our racing in the month of October. Harrison, what was your take on tonight's race? We saw the beating and banging. We saw those cautions late in the going, and it would have been a hell of a finish if it finished under green, but a well-deserved victory at the end.
Yeah, this is a race that you could certainly mark as a different type of wild card than Talladega, but a wild card nonetheless, as unpredictability really runs rampant here. But it turns out to be, they pretty much leave even between Dwayne Vincent and Chad Cole. Chad pulls 1 point on Dwayne to make the lead 22. CJ LaVere narrows the gap to where he's only 24 back, only 2 behind Dwayne. And so this race had a lot of green flag, a lot of long green flag runs, a couple of short stints, especially towards the end of the race. And so Martinsville, always a challenge on these drivers, a long 200 lapper, and it certainly made things pretty interesting. And I tell you, a lot of money raised for that. The Breast Cancer Research Foundation, didn't want to get that name wrong, but all for a good cause. An extra $50 because Guy Snyder with those pink numbers won the race. And a lot. I didn't get an official count on the number of cars that were either sporting pink paint schemes or pink numbers, but it really looks like most of the field And so that's a lot of money going to charity, and over 90 cents of that charity goes to the actual research. And so they're committed, and so it's a very cool thing, very cool night.
And definitely we have to talk about, obviously, the incident with those top 2 in points, Cole and Vincent tangling late in the going. You got to guess, I guess CJ LaVere, I guess, the big winner at it tonight, because he's only 24 back. So we consider Dwayne Vincent still well in the hunt, 22 back in second. So now CJ LaVere just made this a 3-man race, I believe, getting the strong run that he needed late in the going, coming home in the 4th spot, benefiting from the troubles that Vincent and Cole had getting tangled there at the end. Next week, we go to the Texas Motor Speedway, back to the 1.5-mile racetracks. High speed should be there. What are you expecting from that race, and then coming down here to the wire? All right, well, that's going to do it for our broadcast tonight at the Martinesville Speedway. Again, in the end, Guy Snyder is going to take home the checkered flag. Lots of pink, lots of money being raised tonight for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Again, about 91 cents for every dollar donated goes directly to the cancer research. So a big thank you to Eddie Weljic for donating some T-shirts and decals, Stephen Herring and Real Sim Racing for doing the donations with those pink cars and the pink decals. That's going to do it for us. Again, we'll see you next Monday night when we go to the Texas Motor Speedway. So for everybody here at ETVLive and the drivers, JD Webb, Laura Lawson down in the production hauler and working the cameras, Harrison Weidlitz joining me and doing a great job as always. My name is Evan Pasoko, and we will see you next week.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETVLive, sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.